Hello everybody, welcome back to Buzzard Bluff Hunting Extravaganza video. This is 2015 and this is our 6th annual Buzzard Bluff Hunting Extravaganza. My name is Kit Vincent and I will be your host for the video, and let's get started by looking at all the activities that take place before the hunt. This year Rob spent a lot of time building things in the driveway. He built a latrine, which I am so sorry that we don't have a single picture of, and he also built a really sharp bench for inside of our tent, and you will get to see pictures of that later. After we finished up in the garage, then we went to the grocery store and we loaded up the car full of groceries. We eat a lot of food. There's Martin. After we get all the groceries in the coolers, then we've got to double check and make sure we bring everything. We don't want to forget. And there's Martin checking off things from the list. After that was done, then we went inside and we trimmed up some ribs, and then we seasoned them up so we could get them on the grill. We like to get them about 3/4 of the way cooked at the house before we take them to the camp, so that we don't have to spend so much time cooking them. And finally, we have Alicia with her traditional banana nut bread that she makes for us every year, and we always look forward to eating that on a cold morning before we go hunting. After a very short night's sleep, we load up the trailer and we head off to Arkansas, because of course that's where all the fun takes place. Driving into Buzzard Bluff is always really pretty, because the first thing you see is a hallway of pine trees, and it's a gorgeous drive in. And once you get there, you go to the overlook, which is the cliff, and you're looking over a river and a valley with cows, and it's just absolutely gorgeous. And of course, it wouldn't be Buzzard Bluff without buzzards. So here we have Vicky. I think Vicky took this video of the buzzards as they're enjoying the updrafts. They come up the cliff and they can sit there and ride those things for hours. Duke always meets us at the camp to give us a little moral support as we're unloading the trailer, and tells jokes and drinks a beer. And this year we put him to work to move a tree because we have a new addition this year. We needed more space. So after freezing our you-know-what's off, I got a new tent this year, one that's going to keep us warm. And here we are putting up the poles of our big old tent. After you get the gable section of the tent pole set up, we pull out the actual tent canvas itself, and stretch that out over the bars and over the top and get it hooked up before we put the legs on. And here we are. There's our new tent. Now we're attaching all the spikes around the tent and the guy lines to secure it so it doesn't blow away. Once it's all set up, we put the floor in and bring in the cots and then all of our gear. And this was a really exciting year for us. It was our first year to have this tent. And this one has a stove in it, a wood-burning stove to keep us warm and to cook our meals on. And there it is. It's all set up with all the guy lines and the sign put up and the smoke coming out of the smokestack. And it's called Kit's Rack Shack. What? I think I'm going to need a little wine after all that work. So all of the guest hunters arrived on Friday, and here's Marshall and Vicky getting to work on their blind so they can be concealed from the deer. And after we get that done, we walk around the site and we show Vicky all the different stands as her enjoying the tree stand. Later we get back to the camp and Victoria's arrived, and I'm teaching her how to crack pepper for our peppered hamburgers. And Duke shows up, of course. He's not going to eat, of course. And there's Marshall and Duke and stoking up a fire and more wine. Who said that? And here's our spread. We get the Christmas lights up and the peppered burgers and the vegetables, and it's just a yummy night for the first night at the campfire. And there's Victoria, and there I'm monitoring the burgers so they don't burn. Of course, the real chef that night was Marshall Jeffers. He was the one who used his magic to make sure those burgers turned out great. And man, they were some of the best burgers I've ever eaten. Opening morning comes pretty early, 5 o'clock in the morning, but everybody was there like a champ. There's Vicky, Sniper Vicky, hunting. And around 10:30 or 11 or so, you get tired of being cooped up. Here's Marshall busting out of that tent. They had a good, beautiful first morning. They had 2 long shooting lanes on both sides of their tent. And Chris came in the night before and is hunting here with Victoria. There they are, crouching down waiting for a deer to pop out. But the big star of the show the first day was Neil Miller. Neil Miller took a 5-point buck, 3 on one side and 2 on the other. Neil is a seasoned core member of the club. And here's Neil hanging his deer after he gutted it. And then for the first time, he's going to do everything himself. And he's got it skinned down. He's going to quarter it. And here we all are. Neil got his 5-year knife this year, which is 5 years of hunting at Buzzard, Bluff. And we had to give it to him early since he got his deer so soon. Congratulations, Neil. Neil got a jump start on everybody else on the Master of the Game competition. He got 5 stars for the buck he shot and 1 star for every point of antler. So that gives him 10 stars to start the game. Good job, Neil. After all the excitement of Neil's deer died down, it meant we had to start prepping for the Buzzard Bluff Rib Fest. That means cutting a lot of wood for the fire. Everybody chipped in, even little Miss Vicky Jeffers. Now let's see what she does on the chainsaw. Here she is, ripping away at this big log. First time ever, by the way, that Vicky has used a chainsaw, and she does a fantastic job. She racked up a lot of wood for us. Of course, everybody owes Neil Miller a big giant thank you because he's the one that let us use his chainsaw. Without that, boy, we would have been cutting wood all day. Marshall Jeffers was the second person in the camp to ring the bell. He got a doe, and that was his first deer ever. You can tell by the permagrin on his face, and you can't see it, but he's got a little blood mark on his face to show that was his first deer. And for a doe, that gives Marshall 5 stars towards the competition. Good job, Marshall. By the time we got Marshall's deer tucked away, everybody had already gotten there for the big Buzzard Bluff Hunting Extravaganza Rib Fest. This is a meal that the hunters give to the Miller family as a way of saying thank you for letting us hunt on their land. I'm going to stop talking now and let you guys just flip through the photographs. We don't have a lot of photographs, but what we do look good. Alright, so the videos that we have from the Rib Fest are all taken at night, and the cameras don't do very well at night, but if you were there, you'll appreciate how much fun it was, and you'll remember what happens. You don't actually have to see what happened. Some of it you can see, some of it you can't. Here are the videos. I'm not going to play any music in the background for these.
it back out, right?
Yeah.
That's the problem.
Yeah, they got to do that, but then after about a month, it turns to scarfish.
Martin's in charge of corn.
Of the corn.
Corn, very nice. There's the spread. We got ribs. We got some vino.
Why didn't you shoot?
We got some apple juice. I missed the action.
So Daddy has the story about JK and JK's ribs. Interesting story. Where is Daddy?
Daddy.
Bobby's doing stuff.
Yum.
Really good.
Uncle Bob? Yes, sir.
Oh, thank you. You didn't get me with that corn on the cob, did you?
I'll make sure I do. Yeah.
The corn on the cob in my mouth.
Yes, we do.
Yay.
I didn't know you could do that.
Where's the bean? Where's the bean?
Looking around. From down under. Neil, you remember the other lyrics today?
I got about 4 more.
From Rescuers?
Oh yeah.
There's your digestion.
Yeah, that was awesome.
Down the street. But now I ask you very confidentially, ain't she sweet? Ain't she nice? I look her over once or twice. But now I ask you very confidentially, ain't she?
We've literally never heard
the
All those things you can bet your life that it isn't her. So could she love, could she woo, could she coo? Para bailar la bamba se necesita una poco de gracia. Una poco de gracia para mi patilla. Allá arriba y arriba. Allá arriba y arriba.
iré. Yo no soy marinero.
Yo no soy marinero, soy el capitán. I was a little bitty boy. My grandmother bought me a cute little toy. Silver bells hanging on a string. She told me it was my ding-a-ling-a-ling. Ho!
Mine!
Ding-a-ling!
Mine!
Ding-a-ling! I want to play with my ding-a-ling.
Mine!
Ding-a-ling!
Mine!
Ding-a-ling! I want to play with my ding-a-ling. That's okay, we're getting the next one. There's more? Once again of my rose, my love. But running in there like petals falling apart. Think once again of my rose, my own broken heart. 50 words I know still live in my heart all alone. I'm not the only one.
Yeah.
Let pass my baby. Well, eventually the party wound down. Everybody went home, and we all got up bright and early the next morning, 5 o'clock again, Sunday morning for the hunt. Unfortunately, as you can tell from the sound, we got rained out. So Marshall and Vicki decided, based on the forecast, that they were going to head on home. Victoria and Chris and Sterling stayed. They were going to see if we could hunt the evening hunt, and let's see what happened for the evening hunt. All right, so when the rain let off, I decided I was going to toot out across from the camp. We have a blind right across from the camp, and I was going to go sit that. And here's a picture I actually took from that hunt, and that's where the deer came from. And eventually, after I got through taking photos and got nestled in, sure enough, here comes a deer, and it looked like a big doe. So I took the shot, and when everybody heard the shot, and about 15 minutes later, 20 minutes later, they all came running after I texted everybody and said, I got a doe. And they found it, and it wasn't a doe, it was a buck. It's called a button buck. So you can see from I'm going to zoom in on the antlers, that one side does have a little button, and the other side has a little 1 inch or 1.5 inch spike. So I was shooting an open sight rifle, so it was really hard to see. But anyway, that's my ring the bell with a 2-point buck, which is 5 stars for the deer itself, and then 1 star for each point. So Kit rings the bell with 7 stars. The competition continues. Once we got my deer cleaned and squared away and hung in the tree, then it was time for all of us to go out again immediately after that. And this time Victoria and Chris were hunting near me, and Sterling was hunting near Rob. Here we see Victoria and Chris getting up in one of our double blinds, which is a bench seat that's on I think it's a 12-foot ladder. And then Rob and Sterling went out to Rob's little secret spot, and here are pictures of them getting ready for that night's hunt. So Martin was hunting with us too, but unfortunately he doesn't take pictures of himself, and there was nobody there hunting with him to take photos. So, but he did a good job that night too. We'll see how all that turns out in just a little bit. All right, enough of the dramatic music. That, my friends, is one of the biggest deer that have been, the biggest bucks that's been taken off of Buzzard Bluff since we started hunting there 6 years ago. That was a 10-point buck. It was a monster. 2 people could hardly pull that thing. Chris and I had to rest several times. There we are. We had to load up my deer and Martin's and Neil's up to the night drop, where we took the horns off and filled out the paperwork. And there was nobody there, so we had to do it all ourselves. And we hook up all the tags to say what kind of meat we wanted, and then we throw it into this big cooler. And there is Sterling and Rob with his trophy antlers. That is it. That's the 10 points. That gives him 5 stars for the deer and 10 stars, 1 for each point of antler. Sterling rings the bell, 15 stars. He is 2015's master of the game. Congratulations, Sterling. Congratulations. That was an awesome deer. All right, here is the first time we've ever used it here, the master of the game-o-meter. And this is going to tell us definitively who is the master of the game. So I'm going to push the button, and they should start rising. There's Neil. He's headed up for his 5-point buck. Gives him 10 stars. I had 7. Marshall and here comes Sterling. Boom, 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 boom. Come on, Sterling. 15 stars. He is, of course, the master of the game. That was exciting. The master of the game-o-meter, ladies and gentlemen. Okay, here we go. Lightning storm. That was Sunday night or Monday morning. I can't remember. I get everything mixed up. It was a beautiful show of lightning, and most people slept through it. The tent held up wonderfully. There were a few leaks on there, but we called the manufacturer, and they said that as the tent gets seasoned, that canvas will tighten up and those leaks will go away. But boy, that was the first time that I really started thinking about lightning storms hitting the metal poles. How scary would that have been? We'd have been out there with a fried, melted tent and lots of rain coming down on us. But anyway, everything turned out wonderfully. As you can see, in just a little bit, as you can see, nobody woke up during that whole storm. It is very soothing to have the rain falling down and tapping the top of that. There's Rob and there's Martin, But having that rain tapping the top of the tent, was very soothing and hypnotizing. Very nice. So, anyway, while we were rained in, we didn't let that stop the fun. So let me show you what else we did. We don't have any light. Rob, what are we eating tonight?
Brunswick stew, a la Kit.
We don't have very much light.
We ate.
Muy delicioso. I'm on my third bowl.
Yum.
We ate 1 gallon of stew and wonderful cornbread with syrup.
During the cornbread, we're heating up on top of the skillet, on top of the lid. We'll have pictures as well. Yummy food. All right, we're here, and it is pouring down rain. You can probably hear it. So far, we only have a couple of leaks. We waited it out. We knew it was going to rain about 1.5 to 2 inches tonight. We waited it out, so we're going to see if we can survive the night from hell with all the rain. Wish us luck.
Yours are the sweetest stars I've ever seen. You can tell everybody this is your song. It may be quite simple, but now that it's done, I hope you don't mind. I hope you don't mind that I put down in the words how wonderful life is when you're in the world. This is one of my favorite photos. It's what the tent looks like from the outside at night when it's lighted on the inside. It looks like an advertisement to me. It's really pretty. Well, eventually the rain did stop. In this picture here, it's still raining a little bit. You can see the smoke coming out of the smokestack as it's keeping us warm. One of the things you might notice also is that the door to the tent is off the ground now, and if you look at the corners, they are pulling tightly. So what happens in the rain is the canvas begins to shrink, and then it relaxes again after it dries. But we were worried because when the rain started, everything was on the ground, and when it got really wet, that everything pulled up by that front door, about 3 or 4 inches. But yeah, everything eventually dried out, and then we got to resume our hunt for one last day. Okay, so we're waiting for the tent to dry. And so while the tent's drying, we figured we would get another 45-minute hunt in. So here's my site. I just walked into the woods and sat down next to a rock. Well, guys, there it is, 23 minutes and 30 seconds worth of Buzzard Bluff Hunting Extravaganza video for 2015. Thanks for watching. We want to say thank you again with all of our hearts to the Miller family and the Clements for letting us hunt out there. We realize it's a very special piece of property out there, a little piece of heaven, and we really do appreciate them opening it up to us. After we left the deer camp, Rob found a place on the way home. After we went and picked up our venison at the processing plant, we went out to Shad's Catfish Hole. So if any of you guys ever get a chance to go out to Shad's Catfish Hole, it is well worth it. So what I'm going to do right now is there's some photos that I did not use in the video, and so I'm just going to flip through those and let you guys watch them as the music runs out. Until next year, happy hunting.